Hi guys, welcome to this week's installment of Docken's Pro Boss Strats. This week we're going to be covering Garr. He's generally the fourth boss in the Molten core that raid groups will go after. He's a giant earth elemental and he's accompanied by 8 earth elemental fire sworn adds. Garr has approximately 660,000 health. He's got 2 additional abilities other than his auto attack that he uses. The first one is Anti-Magic Pulse. What this does is dispels magic on nearby enemies, removing 1 beneficial spell effect. It is a physical base and it has a radius of 45 yards from Garr. This will affect everyone in the raid group that's within range of Garr. He also has Magma Shackles. What this does is reduces the movement speed of nearby enemies to 40% of their normal for 15 seconds. It's a magic type and is a fire base, and it is also a 45-yard radius. This will affect everyone in the raid group as well. The Fire Sworns have approximately 60,000 health, and in addition to their auto attack ability, they have 2 other skills. First one being Immolate. This inflicts 760 to 840 fire damage to an enemy and scorches it for an additional 380 to 420 damage every 3 seconds for 21 seconds. It's a magic type and a fire base. It's a 40-yard range. This ability will affect the target tanking the Fire Sworn. It needs to be dispelled by priests immediately. They also have an eruption ability. The Fire Sworn explodes, inflicting 1850 to 2150 fire damage to nearby enemies. It's a school of fire, and it is a radius of 15 yards. This ability happens whenever the Fire Sworn dies, and or if Garr is pushed below 50%, he will randomly destroy some of the Fire Sworns by causing them to use their eruption ability. If you look at the map here, there's a small Garr icon, generally where he's going to be tanked. There's a black X, which indicates where the raid group's generally going to want to stand. In addition to that, if you see the red circle and the black circle right there, the black circle being the tanking the Fire Sworn, and the red circle being the Fire Sworn, that's the location you're going to want to tank those in. Alright, if you take note in my upper right hand corner there where you see my buffs that are applied, I've got underwater breathing, detect greater invisibility, shadow protection, in addition to all of our other normal raid buffs. Those are essentially non-applicable for the fight. However, what it does is it stacks up castable buffs on a player, so that way if the player has Dire Maul tribute buffs, it prevents them from being stripped off right away. It gives a little bit of room. They've got to remove all the applied buffs before it'll get those, and those are a huge bonus to players as far as their output and performance. They've got all the icons out there on the Fire Sworns, and that's to indicate which ones are going to be banished, which ones are going to be off-tanked. If you notice, this raid group has 2 warlocks, which is very shallow on the warlock roster, but they will banish 2 targets, and I guess they're going to make up for it in tanking and extra heals. So you have off-tanks either double tanking the adds, or you have extra tanks picking them up and healers just making up for the fact that you don't have the banishes. Now you see there, we use a pet to pull this, and what that does is prevents the immolates from the Fire Sworns being stacked consecutively on a single player, and as well not getting one shot by having all the mobs hit you. Now if you notice the melee over there on the right hand side of the screen, they're DPSing Garr. They can do that till he gets to 55%, and at that point they want to stop so that the raid group has an opportunity to kill all the Fire Sworns before they push Garr close to 50%. If they get him to 50%, he will start exploding the Fire Sworns in the raid group regardless of the level of health which they have. Now, if you notice down the middle of the screen, there's kind of a hard line of range where people are putting space between themselves and the tank that was tanking on the left-hand side there. As you'll see, they'll pull the next target over, the X. And he's got his back to the wall there. What that does is prevents him from getting punted across the room. Whenever they explode, they do a knockback in addition to that, and you wouldn't want to get punted into the, or knocked back into the adds that are going to still be up on the opposite side of the room to the right that you can't see right now. So if you mind, look where the raid group is. It's mostly up here straight in front of me and slightly to the right, where they've got the adds being off-tanked. The next tank communicated via voice. They're pulling the adds over. Again, he's stacking with his back to the wall. And the ranged DPS, mages, warlocks, hunters, everybody's going to be DPSing those. Again, the melee don't want to go in on that because when they explode, they'll send you flying and or end up killing you because they put out a lot of damage. This fight can appear a little bit chaotic. Yep, you see there, people were a little bit too close and they got punted. But the chaos is not as much as it may appear right off. Once you understand what you're doing and who's placing what where. Cleans it up a bit. There's another player just got knocked back. Fortunately, he didn't pull anything. As you see, the trash is still up over there. Now you see the circle. People are calling out, don't kill it, don't kill it, don't kill it. People are running back. They're trying to get away in case it accidentally goes over. Look, they stopped the melee on Garr. He's at 54%. And they're getting that circle off to the side there so it doesn't explode in the raid group. Now we're down to 1. People are getting away from that star. Some of the melee are going in. They can hit it, but they got to get out of there before it gets too low. Otherwise, they'll get knocked back. As you can see, some of them are going to be moving out. They moved out. The star's getting pulled away. They're going to finish it up. The raid group will then converge on Garr and take him down. Little side note, that was not my best performance by any means. I was focusing on trying to get optimized video angles for this. Once the ads are down, it's relatively simple. You just kind of spank and tank right there. As you can see, he did remove some of the buffs that I had, but I still have my fortitude. That detect invisibility is still up there. The intel is still up there. Take a quick look at the loot here. Alright, no bindings. Feels a little bit bad, but maybe next time.